finally the complete comic and graphic novel haul for June of 2025. One of them, so I'm not gonna do. There was one book that I didn't get from, because it came in today on the first of the month, and instead of just doing one video, and then I'll say something like that. I was gonna say it's not the worst idea to push this video into filming it tomorrow, but I don't want to keep the books on that. No, but what was nice about the book that came in yesterday was there was one book came in yesterday, one book came in today, and because I knew I had one more coming in today for the June haul, I decided to just stack them all and put them to the side rather than put them on the shelf. And I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I kept them on, like, stacked away from the shelf for now. Because I just had to go back on the shelf and grab each book and remember, oh, did I grab all the ones? Yeah, that would have been a huge pain. It's only like 11, well, it's actually 12. 12 graphic novels and 1 comic, so technically it is 13 total. But no, it's not, because it's a single issue. So by single issue standards, I got way more than 12. Because I got 5 issues here, 5 issues there, 10 issues here, so 15 already with COWL, Karmen, and 16 with this, Casual Heroes. Written by Kevin McCarthy with artwork done by, look at that. I know the artwork was also done by Kevin McCarthy. So yeah, I count this as like maybe 12.5, if anything like that. Or if anything. I don't count this as part of, hell, when I do the, Instagram, yeah, I probably will. I'll just snapshot. I'll do 2 photos. When I do this snapshot, I won't show Casual Heroes. I'll just show the stack of the books, and that'll be it. Just because it's kind of hard to do all that in one, and make it visible. And all visible. So, that's another thing that makes me very similar to Near My Conditions channel. Is I started doing this because he started doing that. I was like, oh, what a great idea. So, those of you who don't know, this channel is very heavily, especially these days, is heavily inspired by Near My Conditions channel. The mannerisms here and there. I always end the video with saying that as I say is that's why he ends the videos. Doing the end of the month hauls, or all the comics and graphic novels I got that month. Titling the video what I title it, this video. A lot of it is inspired by him. And of course, crediting creators. But I just do writer, artist, colorist, and inker if it applies. Anyways, written in pencil by Kevin McCarthy, inked by John Stangeland and Kevin McCarthy, but colored by Noel Giddings. And here is the interior artwork for Casual Heroes. I did the same thing, same 2-page spread before. I did this video before. So this one, I don't usually do this. It was just I saw on eBay, and it was the only Kevin McCarthy book I didn't get. So I decided to hell with it. Let's do that. I didn't have from Image Comics, so I decided to hell with it. Let's do that. And this one, I guess it's just like it got canceled after issue 1. Because it says to be continued. It's not a one-shot. Next up, we have. This one's technically thicker. Next one up, yeah. Next up, we have Family Force 5 by the creator of Amphibia, Matt Braley. I'm pretty sure he's the creator. I know he works on Amphibia, but I'm pretty sure he's the creator. I found that out. The only reason I found that out was because I was watching a video. They were going over something, and in one of the entries, maybe it was top 10 anticipated releases. I know it wasn't that, but I'm just giving you an example. Anticipated animated releases, and one of them was that Amphibia was finally coming back, and Matt Braley was what announced it in that video. The clip they took from YouTube or whatever it was from, that Matt Braley was talking about it coming back as a graphic novel, which I think is very appropriate that he writes this, so it's in his practice in, unless he's already done graphic novels for other publishers. But as far as I'm concerned, this is his first. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, that was what I was looking for. So here's the interior artwork for Family Force 5, and this is Image Skybound Comet. And Image Skybound Comet is these. It's basically what DC did with Gotham High and Iron Knight Starfire, Teen Titans Raven, Teen Titans Starfire, all those books. This is Image Comics' answer to that. But it can be a wide range. It's not just, oh, superheroes, from DC. Here's the young adult imprint. It can be anything because it's what Image is. But like you can have like Sea Serpent's Air. I believe it's like fantasy. This is, I want to say sci-fi. Looks like superhero sci-fi. Almost looks like Power Rangers on the back here. I hate to say this because it's gonna be insulting. I'm not trying to insult by saying this, but it looks like a knockoff. And this one does say, if you saw the back of it, it does say 12 and up. And what's funny is that the next book you'll be seeing here, was also from Skybound's Comet, is 14 and up. So I think it goes 8 and up. I think even maybe 10 and up, 12 and up, and 14 and up. So maybe there's 4 ratings like G, PG, PG-13, and R. I don't think there's any R rated material from Skybound Comet. I know one of them. I think one of them had a little bit more language, like there's some F words here and there. But even then, I want to say that was not the case. There is one that's Outpost Zero that has like a lot of S words, like all shit words. It was Outpost Zero, but even that wasn't originally from Skybound Comet. It just did a complete collection in a smaller trade, digest size like this. And so that's another thing I want to mention: digest-sized comics and how I feel about them. If you want to make your comic smaller, I think it should not be any smaller than this. Yes, I'm even talking about the DC Compact Comics editions. This should be the smallest size a comic gets. But I think DC Comic Compact is an exception, honestly, the more I think about it, because they're trying to go for the manga crowd. They're $10, are affordable, and you get some classic DC stories. You get some classic DC stories there. But this one is, like, I'm talking like everything else. Like, Image, they should never have a trade smaller than this size. And I don't mind this size, reading this size books. This is originally in this size. You can't get it any bigger. At least for right now, you can't. And that's probably not going to be, probably not going to do like an oversized omnibus version of this book. Even if they have a sequel, like all 3 of them in one omnibus, they're probably never going to do that. So it'll always be available and only available in this format, which I'm fine with because it's only available in that format. What I don't like is when, like, Echoes, that was a standard size trade paperback that they squished down, it's even smaller than this, into a small ass hardcover. Actually, I think it was the exact same size. Let me see from here. Yes. Actually, it was a little bit bigger. Nope, sorry. Yeah, a little smaller, actually. So I was right. Well, only a little bit. But anyways, Family Force 5, Matt Braley, and the artist is... Ainsworth Lee, I'm gonna assume. And did the artwork, the interior artwork, right? Yeah, no, he did. We'll do it again. Why not? Just in case. Okay, so this next one is the one that did not come in until this morning. And it was really early, so the earliest, I think, USPS has ever been. And it was nice that it was with the last book, too. The earliest that USPS delivers was with the last comic that I needed. Now, this one had no business coming in this late. It should have been in, because the facility that it originated from was, like, very close to me. I could have driven there. Yeah, it would have been a long trip, but I could have driven to that USPS facility, said, hey, here's all the credentials, give me my book right now, because you're going to take even longer and be worth the very long round trip. I'm not going to say how long, it was a 4-hour round trip. Alright, it would have been. And it would be worth it. And that is Clementine Book 3, written and drawn by Tilly Walden. This is the Skybound's Comet Walking Dead spin-off. Now this one, I think you could just read this as is. I think there's some references to the Walking Dead comic series, but I think for the most part, this could be your introduction. And should be kids' introduction, teenagers' introduction into The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is, while it is mature rated, I think a 13, 14-year-old could read the comics just fine. It is violent, has a lot of language, and a lot of, like, just really heavy material in there, like thematic material in there, but it's not anything. I don't think there's actually there's very brief nudity, and that was like in one issue in the entire nearly 200 issue long series. But anyways, Clementine book 3. I just said that. Tilly Walden. I don't think there are any other names here. No, it's just Tilly Walden. Tilly Walden does everything. And here is the interior artwork. As you can see, it's like the original Black Walking Dead comics in black and glorious black and white. One of my, and it's even a controversial opinion. I doubt it is. It's nowhere near as controversial. Nowhere near being controversial. But I don't think they should have done the Walking Dead deluxe editions. I think that's kind of a stupid idea. The deluxe single issues where it's two, and I guess 2 or 1 issues. I want to say 2 issues squished into one oversized comic issue of The Walking Dead, but now it's in color. And I don't think it's a bad thing if that doesn't become the norm. Like, I don't want to live in a world where the original black and white trades, hardcovers, and compendiums are now out of print because all they're going to print for the newer printings of Walking Dead is the colored versions. I like the black and white versions because this is the biggest reason is that was the author's original intent. Robert Kirkman was going for at first a homage to Night of the Living Dead in those zombie movies that were released back in those early days. So that makes sense. And I think it was just 50s horror movies too, like 50s and 60s horror movies too. It wasn't specifically Night of the Living Dead. But he was going for an aesthetic that really fits with it, really works well with the comic series, especially as it goes along. One thing I will say that's controversial is that I think Cliff Rathburn and, who's the other? Charlie Adlard. I like their artwork leaps and bounds above Terry Moore's. I think Terry Moore was good, but honestly it's kind of poetic that once Terry Moore leaves Walking Dead was when it starts getting really, really good. It doesn't stop, and it kind of hits that momentum of just being like insanely good and super captivating and like not letting up for even a second and just being really damn good. Even when it does let up for a second, like has more slower issues where not a whole lot happens, it's still investing. And that is why Walking Dead is one of my top 5. It will remain top 5 no matter what I read. Why don't I have the compendiums? Yeah, it's going to be Christmas time. Making that like a top priority. Or at least trying to. Okay, so we got... Oh, and then one thing I wanted to mention before we move on is I think we have... Yep, Matt Braley gives... Yeah, I was right. He is the creator of Disney's Amphibia. It says it in the back here. So Matt Braley gave praise to Clementine, and let's see if Tilly Walden gave praise to Family Force V, so it really comes full circle. I want to say that's the case, but his friend Rebecca Sugar, I imagine they're friends, gave this book praise. Because they're both creators of kids shows that are really popular, and are, I don't want to say are interchangeable, but are spoken in the same breath, kind of thing. Like Family Guy and Simpsons and King of the Hill, or King of the Hill and The Simpsons, They're different enough, but they have similar beats here and there. And even then, I'm thinking it's too much. I think it's overstating it. Nope. I'm not seeing it. Trevyung did. Trevyung did the Everyday Hero Machine Boy in there. Skyphone comic book. Nope, no praise from Tilly Walden. Okay. But I came full circle with the Clementine book 3. And Clementine, so I have read this series, that's why I was able to say, oh, you can read that as is, and good introduction, yada yada yada, because of the fact that I read the whole entire book 1, and part of book 2. It wasn't as strong as The Walking Dead, but I was not expecting it to be, but it definitely has that young adult graphic novel feel to it. So if that is a turn-off for you, I would not recommend checking out Clementine at all. But if you want more Walking Dead, or if you want just a young adult version of it, it's not as, mean-spirited as The Walking Dead, then Clementine is a book for you. You still want the zombies, you still want the character dramas. There you go. Circuit Breaker by Kevin McCarthy. I don't think he does the artwork here, though. He is not. The artist instead here is Kyle Baker. who I guess is also the colorist. I find that really weird they say artist. I know, well, actually, no, it was colorists. So it was special thanks to Mindy Stefan for coloring assists. So there you go. Okay. So Circuit Breaker is a comic. You see the interior artwork and you saw the cover, and it does not scream that that's a book that I would ever pick up. So the only reason I knew this book existed was Image on their Twitter. They asked everyone on their Twitter, what are some super emotional Image books that you've read? And then someone had said Circuit Breaker, which, based off the critical reception, it may have been one of Kevin McCarthy's friends trying to get that book pushed. I mean, I think this book is old, so it's not like it's going to mean anything. Although, no, it still would. May 2017, so it's not that old. This one collects all 4 issues of Circuit Breaker. Sorry, 5. All 5 issues of Circuit Breaker. I just knew because on Image it said one Image on Amazon somewhere it said 1 of 4, but no, it's 1 of 5. So 5-issue miniseries of Circuit Breaker. Can't even say Volume 1, just Circuit Breaker. But yeah, but it does flipping through it. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like it's a little overly cartoony. So what's the rating? T13. So it probably is kitty. T14 for Image usually means like around the same as T for Marvel, where it's like PG, PG-13 kind of walks that fine line. But Image, I would say, is further into the PG-13 route than the PG route. In fact, I know that they are because of books like Skull Kickers. And I think there was another T14 book. Oh, Rocket Girl. Rocket Girl got away with 2 uncensored F words, and that was T14. So yeah, PG-13 for Image. But also, like, they have a book they said was for kids, but it was rated T for teen. So, yeah, I would still argue that fine line between PG and PG-13. So maybe like the 80s PG, but even when they just had the PG-13 rating, I still got like Spaceballs as PG, but they have an F word, a lot of like mild suggestive content that would not fly in today's standards for a PG movie. So. But it was still out. It was 88. They still had the PG-13 rating, but yet it still got PG. That's what I'm thinking of. Is that Image's T14 here and there. All right, moving on. Another Kevin McCarthy book, and that is Epic, spelled the different way. But you can still spell Epic that way. It's not a misspelling. It's not their unique spelling of Epic. No, you can spell Epic that way. I think it means the same thing. I could be wrong though. So this is 1 through 5 of Epic. Actually, I know it's 1 through 5 of Epic by Kevin McCarthy, and I'll go over the artist in a second here. But I did just want to show the interior artwork first and foremost before I forgot. Now this is definitely more of my alley. So this would be kind of like a great instance of feeling the need to have everything the writer has done for Image, and that being, good enough when it's 2 books. Like who cares? It's just 1 extra book I gotta get. But sometimes I will admit it could technically get carried. But like Treve Young did this, they did Lego Ninjago for Image, and I don't think I'll ever pick that up. But it's not like, part of me is like, well, if you have a month but you don't have a whole lot that you're getting that you really want, kind of thing, why not get it? So yeah, sorry, artist. Okay, art by Paolo Pantalena, and then colors by Bill Farmer with George Fairs. I don't usually credit the letterer, but the letterer here is Troy Peteri. He did not only this book, but another book you'll soon be seeing here. And I know the interior artwork already. So the other book that people were raving about on the Twitter, on Instagram, Image Comics' Twitter, was Meltdown. This is a 2-issue miniseries, so all 2 issues of this series are collected in this trade, along with a bunch of extras. Now, each issue, judging by table of contents, seemed to be like 50 issues. Oh, cool! They made a comparison to Astro City here. All right, so pick of the month from a Comic Buyer's Guide. So a lot of praise here. I'm just gonna see if there's anything. It's just the way the font is a little bit annoying. But I think it's all like Newsarama and Comic Book Roundup kind of thing. So I don't know if there's anything that's like an actual person saying it. Bray Windsor Smith. Wow, okay. There you go. There's your reason to get this book. I know that's silly to say, oh, well, this guy gave it praise. It's Greg Winsor Smith. He did it. I know it's not silly per se, but like it's one of those things where it's like that shouldn't be the reason to get the book if you otherwise wouldn't have bought it. So here's the interior artwork for Meltdown. But I think judging by the artwork, I mean, come on. I wouldn't get that book. If you were into superheroes, into comics, you know. It's good artwork, I mean. So yeah, it's superhero. Alright. No other genre. There's something else here. So this is, let's go over who it's written by and then go over the artwork artist in a second here. I'm just going to see if there's any other. How do you get 2 Newsarama quotes here? Yeah, I don't know why they say Newsarama, Ion Comics. Now, who from these websites said this book was good and to check it out? Alright, so written by David B. Schwartz, and then artwork and lettering by Sean Wang. Colors by Guru Effects. And the issue 1 cover is done by Chris Bocciolo, where the issue 2 cover is done by Greg Horn. I know I just showed the interior artwork, but I'm doing it again. Next up, we have one of these, one of the books. So, if you go to Jason Rubin's Amazon page, you will only see the Iron Saint and issue 1 of Iron Saint. You see the trade of Iron Saint, then issue 1 of Iron Saint. Nowhere will you see Mysterious Ways. So, for 1 year and 2 months, I thought that was all I needed from Jason Rubin for Image Comics. Come to find out that, and this is the resource that I use, and I strongly suggest everybody else use this resource if they want to know how much an author has done for each publisher or just in general, get all their bibliography in a nice, organized fashion, to go to League of Comic Book Geeks. And even they don't credit everything a writer has done. It's kind of strange. But they said, oh, he also did Mysterious Ways. So hopefully this is the last thing, and I didn't just jinx myself when they said, oh, even Lego Comic Book Geeks doesn't have everything credited. But he's only done like 4 comic series, and two of them from Image and 2 of them from other publishers. And I think it might actually be 4, maybe even be less. But this collects all 5 or 4 issues of this series. It doesn't say on the back. Where does it say right here? 6 issue series, sorry. So 6 issue miniseries is all collected in here, and it is written by Jason Rubin, with artwork, pencils done by Tyler Kirkham, inks by Saul Regala, and then colors by Arif Prianto of IFS, and then lettered again by Tony Pateri. I found that kind of funny. Like, I don't even like look for who the letterer is. I'll just see the name out of the corner of my eye, because I don't really care about letterers for the most part. I say for the most part. So Tony Pateri does this, like, I want to say jagged. This kind of almost jagged lettering fashion for his lettering, and that I'm not the biggest fan of that style of lettering. I like the one that's like the they used the Ultimate books, like back in the early 2000s, specifically that they like uppercase and lowercase lettering. I like that kind of lettering, but other than that, I have no real preference. And then I like the curved A that they use for the new 52 books. Some of the I think Grant Morrison, like, he always teams up with that letterer. So the letters for his books always look the same. That kind of like curved A kind of lettering. And I hope you guys know what I mean when I'm talking about that. It's something that I've just noticed with that lettering. And I think that's Simon Boland. I could be wrong though. But again, I have no real preference. As long as it's legible, I don't care who the letterer is. There is a book that I will eventually get down to reading, is Gunning for Ramirez, and everyone that's read that book complains about the lettering. And I flipped through it, and it's kind of bad. Definitely one I'll have to, like, really squint my eyes, I guess you could say. Okay, so this one, next up we have all 2 volumes collecting all 10 quote-unquote issues of COWL. Now, what I say quote-unquote, issue 6 is missing. So issue 6, I did do some research, and it turns out that, so I say, actually no, it's 11 issues, but all 11 issues, quote unquote, of COWL, but it's actually 10 issues across 2 trades, because issue 6 is, quote unquote, missing from these 2 trades. Now, why is that the case? Well, Kyle Higgins, the creator of the series, also, this is Massiverse series, so it's connected to Radiant Black. Issue 6 is way more connected to Radiant Black than it is COWL, according to someone on Reddit who said, oh, Kyle Higgins said this. So going off that resource, that's why issue 6, I imagine that's why issue 6 is not collected in here. I'll probably just get it on the Kindle, although I hate having to do that. Like, I bought the COWL trades for this reason, but even then, I may just wait, because COWL 1964 is currently going. It's currently going on, and when the trade comes out, hell, what the trade just collects issue 6 of COWL. But no, and that series is like on indefinite hiatus, and they were like one issue away from issue 4, and it's a 4-issue miniseries. They were this close, and they just went on indefinite hiatus. But so did Moon Man, who's also by Kyle Higgins. So something must be going wrong. But that one at least makes sense, because the whole Kid Cudi thing, Kid Cudi, C-U-D-I, he is working on Moon Man, and it kind of makes sense because of what's currently going on with him, the P. Diddy trial. So that kind of made sense why it was on indefinite hiatus. And I think now maybe that seems to, at least his part is over. I think I haven't heard any updates. I don't know. But anyways, interior artwork for COWL. In this series, I've read it in its entirety, again, except for issue 6. Which, like, the more I think about it, I wonder if I knew that issue 6 was missing. I don't think I did. But the more I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, maybe I did. And I always meant to check out issue 6, but never end up checking it out. I'll probably just go on to go to other resources, check out issue 6. Say, hey, I technically I do own it, so it's not piracy. It's not piracy if you own it. And it's bullshit they don't collect the issues. So these trades, those of you who have COWL in your PC, this may look a little bit different. This is the new printing of COWL Volumes 1 and 2. That's why in yesterday's video, I did look into it. I was like, hey, I wonder if, come on, brain. Come on, again. I wonder if the older printings had issue 6. These newer printings are just the condensed versions, if you will. That they cut back. They didn't. They just never collected issue 6. I don't know why, because it's just, even if it's more connected to Radiant Black than it is COWL, like that commenter on Reddit was saying, it's still part of a COWL. People that were getting the issues as they were coming out still had to deal with issue 6 not being connected to the overall story. Collect the issue in the trade. There's no reason not to. Okay, so the Volume 1 collects 1 through 5 of COWL, which is written by Kyle Higgins and Alex Siegel. They both got story credits. Brad Reese doing the art. Again, Tripateri. That's weird, because the lettering looks different here. No, it doesn't, actually. So, 2 in a row. And I'm going to show the interior artwork again. I know I already did, but just so I can appease the part of my brain that's saying, you didn't do it. You think you did, but you didn't. So when it comes to Volume 2, if I bought both Volumes 1 and 2 of a series, or so on and so forth, I will not do the interior artwork for Volume 2. I'll just do it for Volume 1. Now, for Clementine Book 3, I got that way after the fact that I got Volumes 1 and 2, so obviously I'm going to show the artwork for Volume 3. I'm not going to go to my shelf and get out Book 1, so we can follow the same rule of the reason why I do this is because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. What if issue 7 of COWL starts out with Jeff the character into Gravestone? Of that, and it says and it's clear as day, says Kyle Higgins. I know it's not one of the people in this book, but I'm gonna a fake name. Fake name the author. What they did that, or what if Kyle Higgins, like, they did like a tongue-in-cheek thing, and it's like a spoiler technically, or like, I just don't want to show any spoilers, so when I do the interior artwork, I try to get it as close to the first few pages as I can. I do it random, I don't count out the pages, but I try and do it towards the first, like, 25%, or the first, like, 10% of the book. Maybe even 5% for some of them. So that is why. But then I had no choice. Like Saga Book 12, when I got that Volume 12 of Saga, I'm not gonna go all the way to the compendium. I'm just gonna show for Book 12, and so be it. You see a little bit some spoilers here and there, and I see spoilers too. But yeah, that's my reasoning. Okay, then COWL Volume 2, The Greater Good, collects 7 through 11. Yeah, that really does piss me off. It doesn't collect issue 6 in here. So again, I had read this series before, and I really liked it. It was a bit slow here and there, I remember it being. And I think I liked part of it more than I liked part of the others. I don't know if it started out really good, and it got kind of like overstayed its welcome kind of thing. But I almost want to say that was the case, but all in all, I remember really enjoying COWL. Void Rivals Volume 3, collecting 13 to 18 of Void Rivals, written by Robert Kirkman, artwork done by Leonardo De Felici, and colored by Patrico Dapiche. So Void Rivals is the start of the Energon universe. And I remember like it was yesterday, everyone being like, oh, at the end of Void Rivals issue 1, oh my god. Image Comics now has the rights to the Energon universe of being G.I. Joe and Transformers. So next one up is G.I. Joe, Volume 1, The Cobra Strikes. Oh, sorry, Volume 3. So it was Void Rivals Volume 3, The Key to Vector Theta. And then G.I. Joe Volume 1, G.I. Joe Volume 1, The Cobra Strikes, written by Joshua Williamson, with artwork done by Tom Riley, and the colors being Jordi Belair. Now, this is more connected to Joshua Williamson's G.I. Joe than the original G.I. Joe. Now, I know very little about G.I. Joe. I just know Cobra Commander, I know Cobra, and I know it was like back in the 80s, and then I can't even remember 100% if it was the toys that came out first or the comics. Same with Transformers, but I think Transformers is the toys first, comics, cartoon, and so on and so forth. But anyways, so this is connected to, so you gotta read Joshua Williamson, Duke, and Cobra Commander before reading this. So you want to read in chronological order, or at least in order of publication. So I know I showed the artwork for this, so we're done with that book. We're almost done in general, actually. I guess I have 2 more books. I'm kind of, so I wonder how long this video has been going on for. So it's not, I'm not gonna look, because I can't see from here, because my vision. But sometimes I get surprised. Like, I'll be like, oh my god, this is only going on for 20 minutes. And then other times I'll be like, oh my god, 40 minutes? How in the world? 32 minutes. Wow. So it will be longer than yesterday's video. And less prattling, I would argue. Okay. Next up, we have Free Agent. So this one in Clementine, well, it's the first of the month, so I didn't get this one early because I'm beginning of this book today. But Clementine got a week early, and this came in late, but I ordered a week early. It was from, so the third party store I bought this from was my comic shop. And my comic shop is economy shipping. So you have to deal with some bullshit here and there from the USPS. But I'd argue it's not that much different than standard shipping. And that's me, honestly, that's me calling out USPS. Even priority shipping. I want to try that this coming month, or one. I wish I can't try this coming month. I want to try that with one of these books. I did try it with a book way back in the day, but there was stuff happening with the USPS, so I think it got delayed because of that. And I don't think it was at all earlier. I want to see how fast priority shipping is. Get one book, like just like book this size at thickest, and then see how long it takes. So according to Image Comics, this is 192 pages, but according to Amazon, this is actually 240 pages. I would say it's somewhere in the middle. So I'd say 215. No, I would say it's closer to 240 than 192. I know 192 pages is still very thick, but I still think 240 is what it is. Anyways, this collects Free Agents 1 through 7. So far, the entire series. No news on it continuing. It was cited as being advertised as being an ongoing series, but no news on issue 8. Now, I know that Image books, they'll go on hiatus for like a long time. I'm not expecting this to be like Saga levels or anything like that. I think that'd be a bit insane. But yeah. Hey, come on, don't bend. I hate when I do that. The page comes out a little bit and I bend it with my finger a bit too much. But here is the interior artwork for Free Agents, which is why am I so excited about this book when it's written by Kurt Busiek, as you can probably see from here. Well, it's also co-authored by Fabian Nicieza. And Fabian Nicieza, I have read his Deadpool and Cable and Deadpool, or how we want to say it. It is Cable and Deadpool. But the trade say Deadpool and Cable because of advertising. I need the omnibus says that too. But that is a phenomenal series. Absolutely loved that series. Cannot wait to read it again. My library has the entire series, save for Volume 7. It's an 8-volume series, and Volume 7 I just lost. I'll have to get them read it elsewhere. Again, like with COWL Issue 6, I'm going to say this again. The library owns the series, so it's not piracy. But anyways, Fabian Nicieza, just a really damn good writer in my opinion. I used to not like him. I used to not like him that much. I used to think he was on the same level of Kurt Busiek, which is really ironic that they both teamed up to write this book. And he has a Superman book that I'll be checking out pretty soon here. The library hopefully has through interloans. But yeah. Going back to Free Agents, so 1 through 7, I showed the interior artwork. Who's the artist? Stephen Mooney, and I want to say the colorist is Triona Farrell. Yep, I was right. Triona Tree Farrell, sorry. Yeah, Stephen Mooney is the artist. And Kurt Busiek and Fabian Nicieza are the writers. But this looks like right up my alley for a Fabian Nicieza comic that's like Deadpool. And then I think of him, I think of Cable and Deadpool. It's sci-fi, and so is Cable and Deadpool, and Cable in general. And he's also the creator of Deadpool in general. Now, that's a hugely controversial, like, is it Fabian Nicieza that did the heavy lifting? Is it Rob Liefeld? Is it neither of them? Because Joe Casey's run gave us everything about Deadpool that we know and love. With the fourth wall breaking and all that. Merc with the Mouth was back in the 90s. Back in Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza days, I will give them credit where credit is due. I read that first volume of Deadpool Classic. That's classic 90s. Like, I will sometimes get into the mood, almost always will get into the mood, especially if I'm reading a 90s book. I want to be like this. And Deadpool Classic, that Volume 1 was all of that. And also had some good storytelling here and there in general. Okay, last and certainly not the least is Karmen by Guillaume March, who also does the artwork. Now, why don't I have Cover Girls? Why do I say, well, this is the last one, where's Cover Girls? Cover Girls is also by Image, why didn't you get that? You are a completist. Not when it's just the artwork he did. Not when it's just an art book. Now, Volume 2 of Cover Girls does include a 20-page story. I'm not going to include that. Although this coming month in July, I do have 2 open slots, so maybe I'll bite the bullet. But even then, I think book 2 was really expensive on Amazon. And I could probably just go on eBay like I did with this book. Now, that's another thing why I got this book. So those of you who've been around for a really long time will probably know that, and probably remember, hey, you didn't like this book that much when you first read it. And I never expected to see this book in your PC. What changed? Nothing really changed other than the fact that I think I'll like this on a reread because I read this one a long time ago, and now that I have different expectations, altered expectations going into Karmen, I don't think it'll be like I don't think I'll hate it as much as I hated. I didn't really hate it. I just thought it was mediocre for the most part. I was underwhelmed. I think is the perfect word to use for Karmen when I first read it. But I really liked the ending. The ending, I feel like, was the perfect ending to a book like this. And it kind of like, it gave you everything that you wanted. I finally understood why so many people are crazy about this book. So that, I will give credit where credit is due. So 1 through 5 of Karmen collected in here. I'll go over the artwork and just double check to make sure. So color assistant is Tony Lopez and translator is Dan Christensen. Because Guillaume March is a Spanish writer. And in fact, if you go on Amazon, you find several versions of this book. Some are in Spanish, some are in Italian, a bunch of different languages, and let's make sure I got this in English. Oh yeah, I did. And it also said translated by that guy too. But I got an Italian edition. But the foreign editions are not published by Image. So there you go. The interior artwork for Karmen. So the whole thing of I read them before, yada yada thing. So once, at least for one book per month, I have been getting at least one book that the library had, but I liked it so much, or is prominent enough to where I bought it myself. That I've been doing, and to keep my PC. That I've been doing since, I want to say, actually I know exactly when it was, since August of 2023. We're close to 3 years for that. So if I can remember, I want to try and do more rereads for August and non-rereads. So maybe like 3 rereads and then one book is that I'm going to be reading for the first time ever. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing for August. Because August, I want to downsize because I'll be going back to work. And then these months, like, so May, I did, you saw how much I read from Image in my PC for May. That was because it was 3 years. I've been collecting nothing but Image for collected editions, as you saw here. And of course in May, way back when. Of course, I took like a little hiatus when I got the Boys Omnibuses. It was published by Dynamite. But that month in September 2023, when I got the Boys Omnibuses from Dynamite, I also had gotten Image books that month too. So it was not a break at all. It was just I also got Dynamite books to go along with the Image books. But I've been getting nothing but Image. And most of the time, it's been nothing but Image. I think the only time it was the Dynamite books. And no, I do not include the books I got from that Instagram follower. I don't include that as, oh, it's not Image. It's a gift from him. He's not going to just primarily give me Image books. I don't care what I get from him, as long as I don't own it before. As long as, I don't say I don't care. I don't mind getting books from other publishers from him. So long as I don't own it. So long as it's not everything that I own, like the exact same trade stuff. Like Brightest Day, I had it on the Kindle, but nice for to save some storage, and now I own the hardcovers. And I'm a physical media first kind of guy. Yes, I'm including comics as part of media. So that was a nice addition to my comic book collection. And it's just 3 books. And they're like a little bit bigger than your average trades, but not by much. But anyways, it's like 10 issues, I think. But anyways, that, as they say, is that. 42 minutes, I think, is plenty of time to go over 12 books, plus the Kevin McCarthy, like that one-shot comic book. Now, I was gonna try, and I completely forgot, to read, Casual Heroes before, and you guys a review of that, and so I kind of give a comment, it's a quick little review, in the video itself. I forgot. And yesterday I don't know what happened yesterday. I had the whole day to myself, but I'm still like super far behind. Like I am right now with my reading. So I'm going to end this video now. That, as I say, is that.